The year was 2020, during the first Trump administration. Every other day when I turned on the television, yet another black person murdered at the hands of a police officer. This was going on across the nation, and nobody really understood what we were talking about, what we were yelling about. But on that fateful day, on May 25th, 2020, everyone saw, the world saw the murder of George Floyd. And so now we are in the second Trump administration. 100% complete police immunity from any type of misconduct, in addition to the removal of civil rights. So now the question is, what happens to Black America? Well, Ali Velshi of MSNBC dedicated an entire segment toward just this very subject matter. We're going to go ahead and take a look at this clip, and then we're going to talk about this on the other side.
5 years ago, on the evening of May 25th, 2020, the Minneapolis Police Department released a statement with the headline, "Man Dies After Medical Incident During Police Interaction," end quote. The statement reads in part, "On Monday evening, shortly after 8 p.m., officers from the Minneapolis Police Department responded to the 3700 block of Chicago Avenue South on a report of a forgery in process. Officers were advised that the suspect was sitting on top of a blue car and appeared to be under the influence. Two officers arrived and located the suspect, a male believed to be in his 40s, in his car. He was ordered to step from his car. After he got out, he physically resisted officers. Officers were able to get the suspect into handcuffs and noted he appeared to be suffering medical distress. Officers called for an ambulance. He was transported to Hennepin County Medical Center by ambulance, where he died a short time later," end quote. The unnamed man in his 40s who died of an apparent medical incident was George Floyd. And that initial police account was a lie, a flat-out, blatant lie. A lie which they were probably going to get away with if it wasn't for a teenager with a cell phone. Darnella Frazier was a 17-year-old at the time. She was walking to the corner store with her 9-year-old cousin when she witnessed a commotion outside the store, so she took out her phone and she hit record. Darnella Frazier did not capture George Floyd's suffering medical distress, as the police report stated. Darnella Frazier captured Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin's knee on George Floyd's neck for 9 minutes and 29 seconds. She captured George Floyd crying out for his mother. She captured George Floyd's final words, "I can't breathe." She captured George Floyd's murder on camera. Darnella Frazier captured the truth. That took courage. She kept recording even as Officer Chauvin reached down and put his hand on his can of mace. She displayed more courage than the other police officers on the scene who could and who were legally and morally compelled to physically intervene but did not. Darnella's brave decision to hit record changed the trajectory of this case. It shifted public perception of what happened that day. It prompted a worldwide movement. I would say it led to justice for George Floyd, but true justice would be if George Floyd were alive today. Without Darnella Frazier's courage, the world probably would have believed that initial police account. And George Floyd's family may never have gotten any semblance of closure. But the thing is, it should not be the work of a 17-year-old civilian to hold law enforcement to account. A cell phone with a camera should not be our defense against police brutality. George Floyd was one of many, too many, unarmed black people who were killed by police in the last 10 years. Breonna Taylor, Daunte Wright, Atiana Jefferson, Botham Jean, Philando Castile, Alton Sterling, Eric Garner, Tamir Rice, Elijah McClain, Tyree Nichols. There's no way I could even get through the list. There are many more. But these are some of the names you know because there was either cell phone footage or police body camera footage or witness accounts of what actually happened to them, in many cases contrary to what the police said happened to them. We think of George Floyd's murder as the catalyst, but his death actually capped off a decade of high-profile, deadly interactions with police. It didn't end police brutality, but it did lead to some change and some accountability. When President Biden came to office, his Justice Department investigated or oversaw nearly a dozen local police departments accused of civil rights violations. It was an effort to reform local law enforcement agencies in the wake of so many high-profile killings. One of the investigations produced a scathing federal report that found that the Minneapolis Police Department routinely discriminated against Black and Native American people and used deadly force without justification. After some of these investigations, the Biden administration made agreements known as consent decrees with police departments. A consent decree is a legally binding, court-enforced agreement. Basically, the Department of Justice identifies the problems within a police department and then sets new requirements around how police should be trained and disciplined and evaluates officer recruitment. An outside monitor and a judge ensure that the departments are complying with the consent decree, and this sometimes lasts for years. By and large, experts say consent decrees work. They're an effective tool for police reform. Many troubled police departments struggling to reform would not get the resources they need to update their policies and training without federal consent decrees. Well, the Trump administration doesn't see it that way. 4 days before the 5th anniversary of George Floyd's murder, Trump's DOJ announced it was abandoning oversight efforts of local police departments. Trump officials say they plan to drop the consent decrees made with Minneapolis, where George Floyd was murdered, and with Louisville, where Breonna Taylor was killed in a botched police raid. And they will close the civil rights investigations into several other police departments. So once again, it's one step forward, two steps back. It's like this administration is saying, why bother making sure our police departments are following the most basic civil rights requirements? What's the big deal? I guess those cell phone cameras are going to have to do for now. In 2021, 1 year after the death of George Floyd, Darnella Frazier, the 17-year-old with a cell phone, reflected on social media. She wrote in part, quote, "It made me realize how dangerous it is to be Black in America. We shouldn't have to walk on eggshells around police officers, the same people that are supposed to protect and serve." She adds, "A lot of people call me a hero, even though I don't see myself as one. I was just at the right place at the right time. Behind this smile, behind these awards, behind the publicity, I'm a girl trying to heal from something I'm reminded of every day."
According to an article that was written by CBS News by a person named Lee Cohen, back on September 20th, 2020, they wrote, "The police in the U.S. killed 164 Black people in the first 8 months of 2020. These are their names, and they have actually posted their names, of which I am posting here right now. 164 people. Now, this president has a tendency to say that the white people out there in South Africa are being murdered through genocide and having their land taken. You understand? Meanwhile, back at the Ponderosa, Black America is wondering, with 100% complete police immunity and the civil rights gutted and the consent decrees removed, well, what in the world stands to assist Black America? Because you do understand that many people really don't talk about Black America. They don't talk about us. You know, something traumatic has to happen. And then there are folks that funnel out into the street and saying Black Lives Matter and putting it in their windows. But when it comes all to going and changing these laws and these policies and holding people accountable, they're very silent. They're very silent. And so what stands for us? Huh? What's in store for us? Huh? Yeah. This is the second Trump administration. We've seen so many things happening. White South Africaners being brought here as refugees, stating that there's a genocide that is going on in South Africa. Well, I color that rather kind of funny, you understand, because they're 7%. They are 7% of the population, yet they hold 72% of the land. So some kind of fraggle-naggle bull crap went on in order for 7% to own the land. So I just want to be able to open up some mindsets and understand that true, where the genocide is happening, is still happening in Gaza. It is still happening with the Palestinians. It is happening over there in Sudan with the Sudanese, even though, and the form of genocide would also be that this administration cut off the U.S. aid, and those people out there dying of thirst and hunger and genocide. Yes, genocide from the Camp Zamzam. So while we are sitting here, oh my goodness, you know, these white South Africaners, no, baby, about 54 of them, and that is just through common criminality. That is common criminality. That happened with farmers and people across the board. So for this administration to sit there and try to bamboozle the people, you understand, through all of these photo optics. Let's look at some more lies that this president has told and trying to convince the American people, of some of which will believe it. But let's just take a look. We fact checking on today, okay? And this comes from Reuters.
Yes.
U.S. President Donald Trump made several false statements and misrepresented some facts during a contentious Oval Office meeting on Wednesday with South African President Cyril Ramaphosa. Here's a look at some of the claims made by Trump about the alleged persecution of South Africa's white minority. Number 1, there is a genocide of white farmers in South Africa.
Persecution or genocide going on.
This conspiracy theory has been propagated by some fringe groups of white South Africans since the end of apartheid in 1994. It's been circulating in global far-right chat rooms for at least a decade. Supporters point to murders of white farmers in remote, rural areas as proof of a politically orchestrated campaign rather than ordinary violent crime, and accuse the government of being complicit. The government strongly denies this. South Africa has one of the world's highest murder rates, and police recorded over 26,000 murders in 2024. 44 were linked to farming communities, and of those, 8 were farmers. Data collected by white farmers themselves also does not support the notion of genocide.
People who do get killed, unfortunately through criminal activity, are not only white people. Majority of them are black people.
Number 2, the government is expropriating land from white farmers without compensation, including through violent land seizures, in order to distribute it to black South Africans.
But you do allow them to take land.
No.
You do allow them to take land.
No.
The South African government has a policy of attempting to redress inequalities in land ownership that are a legacy of apartheid and colonialism. But no land has been expropriated, and the government has instead encouraged white farmers to sell their land willingly. Some 3/4 of privately owned farmland is in white hands, who make up less than 8% of the population. A law signed by Ramaphosa in January that allows the state to expropriate land in the public interest in rare cases without compensating the owner requires authorities to first try to reach an agreement. It still hasn't been used. Number 3, the Kill the Boer song. Trump played a video clip of the song in which some black South Africans call to murder Afrikaners. The song dates back to the resistance against apartheid. 3 South African courts have ruled against attempts to designate the song as hate speech on the basis that it is a historical liberation chant, not a literal incitement to violence. Number 4.
Both sides of the road you have crosses.
Trump played a video clip showing a long line of white crosses on the side of a highway, which Trump said were burial sites for white farmers.
Those people were all killed.
Have they told you where that is, Mr. President?
The crosses did not mark actual graves. The video was made in September 2020 during a protest against farm murders. An organizer told South Africa's public broadcaster at the time that the crosses represented farmers who had been killed over the years. Number 5, Trump held up a sheet of paper with a picture of people lifting body bags.
These are all white farmers that are being buried.
The image actually shows humanitarian workers burying bodies in the city of Goma in the Democratic Republic of Congo. It's a screen grab of this Reuters video taken in February following deadly battles against Rwanda-backed M23 rebels who had captured the city. Number 6.
Just put this on, it's right behind you.
The opening scene of the White House video shows Julius Malema of the Marxist Economic Freedom Fighters, or EFF, in Parliament announcing,
"People are going to occupy land. We require no permission from you, from the president."
There was also another clip of him pledging to expropriate land. Some land has been illegally occupied over the years. mostly by desperate squatters with nowhere to go, although some land seizures are politically motivated. The land is usually unused, and there is no evidence the EFF orchestrated any land invasions.
See, that's all he does is lie. That's all he does is lie. So when we bring it back here and we talk about what's in store for the black people that are here in this divided states of America, one has to wonder, what is in store? Because if he's lying about what's going on over there in South Africa and bringing white South Africaners here as if they are a part of genocide, of which they are not, then what is that saying, and how is that rallying up other folks to look at us in the same way, with contempt? Well, my name is Larissa. I am indeed the People's Reporter, and I might be new here, but I got a whole lot to say. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button, like and comment if you so feel moved, okay? Because this is a very heavy and touchy subject, but I am so here for the people, okay? Power, my people. Power to the black people. Love you. Bye.